the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest, always talking, always proving something, always chasing validation. But the strongest person, the one who moves in silence, that's the one who truly wins. Let me tell you something. Life has a way of giving you exactly what you need at exactly the right time. But only if you learn to be still. Only if you learn to be quiet. Only if you learn to trust the process. Because when you stop forcing, when you stop begging, when you stop explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand you, that's when life starts working in your favor. The right things will come, the right people will stay, the wrong ones will remove themselves. All you have to do is stay silent and let it happen. Silence is power, not just the absence of words, but the presence of awareness. The moment you stop talking, the moment you resist the urge to explain yourself, defend yourself, or prove your worth to those who don't deserve your energy, that's when you take back control. You begin to listen, not just to words, but to what isn't being said, to the energy in the room, to the hidden motives behind people's actions, to the truth that's buried beneath all the noise. Most people can't handle silence. They talk because they fear it. They talk because they feel invisible. They talk because they think being louder makes them stronger. But true strength isn't about how much you say. It's about what you do in the moments of restraint. It's about patience. It's about having the discipline to observe and understand before reacting. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, the visionaries, the ones who command respect effortlessly. They don't waste words. They don't fill space with meaningless chatter. They don't try to impress you with empty promises or exaggerated stories. When they speak, people listen. And why? Because their words carry weight. And what gives their words weight? Experience, wisdom, intention. That's the power of silence. When you stop talking, you start listening. Not just to others, but to yourself. You begin to recognize the thoughts that truly matter. You start noticing the warnings you once ignored. You see more clearly who is truly for you and who is just playing a role in your life. Because when you're always speaking, you can't observe, you can't analyze, you can't read between the lines, and you miss the moments when people reveal exactly who they are. People will always show you who they are if you let them, but most never notice because they're too busy trying to prove something. When you stay silent, you create space for people to reveal their true nature. You don't have to ask if they're loyal. Just watch. You don't have to beg for respect. Just be still and see how they treat you when you're no longer performing for their approval. Winning in life isn't about how much you say. It's about how much you understand. When you listen more than you speak, you learn. You pick up on opportunities before they become obvious. You see people's true intentions before they have the chance to deceive you. You sense situations shifting before they catch you off guard. Silence brings clarity, and clarity is what separates the strong from the weak. Think of a chess game. The best players don't make reckless moves. They don't announce their strategy. They sit in silence, reading the board, studying their opponent, waiting for the right moment to act. That's how life works. The ones who talk too much, they expose their plans before they even make a move. They reveal their weaknesses without even realizing it. But the one who stays quiet, the one who observes, that's the one who always stays ahead. People respect silence more than words because anyone can talk, anyone can make promises, anyone can claim to be strong, wise, or in control. But real power doesn't need to announce itself. Real power is felt. It's in presence, in action, in the ability to sit in silence and still command attention. When you stop talking, you start noticing. You pick up on the little shifts in people when they're lying. You hear the subtle changes in their tone when they're being insincere. You recognize hesitation, contradictions, and the energy behind their words. And that level of awareness, that depth of understanding, is something most people never reach because they're too busy filling the silence instead of listening to what it reveals. There's a reason why the quietest people in the room are often the most powerful. They're not silent because they have nothing to say. They're silent because they're watching, because they're analyzing, because they understand that words can be a distraction, but silence is a weapon. When you start listening more than you speak, you realize just how much unnecessary noise exists in the world. How many arguments aren't worth your energy? How many explanations are wasted on people who have already decided what they want to believe? How many apologies you never needed to give because you weren't wrong in the first place? Silence is power. It stops you from reacting impulsively. It keeps you from saying things you'll later regret. It helps you avoid battles that aren't worth your energy. It allows you to move with purpose, with precision, and with a clear mind. When you embrace silence, you begin to filter out those who crave your attention, but lack your best interests at heart. You stop engaging in conversations that drain you. You no longer feel the urge to respond to every insult, every doubt, or every challenge thrown your way. Because true strength doesn't argue. It simply exists, unshaken, undeniable. Some of life's greatest victories come not from speaking, but from knowing when to stay quiet. From letting your actions, your discipline, and your results speak for you. From keeping your emotions guarded. From refusing to react when others expect you to. Because the moment someone learns how to provoke you, they gain control over you. But when you remain silent, when you refuse to let them dictate your response, that's when you become unstoppable. It's not easy to be silent in a world that equates being loud with being important. But real significance, real power,